Hi, everyone. Happy Disability Pride Month. My name is Nico Meyering. I use he, him pronouns. For a visual description, I'm a white man with blonde hair, large dark glasses. I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I'm seated in front of a blurred purple background. I'm honored today to be joined by my colleague, Milette. Milette, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Milette Millington, and I use she, her, hers pronouns. And I am an African American woman. I am wearing brown glasses and a multicolored jumpsuit, and I am seated on my bed against a pillow, and I have a yellow background behind me.
Millie, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me today. I know you've been covering a lot of Disability Pride Month events, especially in Clubhouse and those related
Yes.
to the diverse ability community. Can you tell me what Disability Pride means to you?
Well, for me, I think it means just not not being afraid, and learning to take take all the hate and the negative stuff and turn it into something positive to actually you know impact people in a positive way. So yeah, I'd say that that would be what disability pride means to me.
Fantastic. I love what you're saying here because it resonates so much with what other respondents have told me about needing to look at the strengths in the disability community, look at the strengths in disabled people like you and I, who have had to function and who could even thrive in a society that is inherently not built for them.
Yes, exactly. That's a great point. Um,
Yes. What is one thing that you want able-bodied people to know about disability life?
well, that's a great question. And what I want them to know is that, first off, disabled people are not tokens, not pawns. We're not like games to be played with. We are human. First off, we have made very, very valuable contributions to every field imaginable. We have, helped to make the world a better place in more ways than in more ways than they can even think of. So,
Fantastic. It sounds like you're interested in promoting disabled autonomy.
yeah, I would say that. Yeah, just kind of, and yeah, I'd say definitely in my as I was finishing my master's program and I did my capstone project on the disability community in New York City, I definitely focused on that, on really highlighting, hey, that disabled people have been working hard and fighting to really establish themselves and just really help make things better in the world. So yeah, that's definitely something I wanted to achieve um, with my master's project that I did last year, which I'm sure you probably saw some stuff if you probably saw a few things recently over my social platforms. So yeah, that's been the goal for that project.
Fantastic. Do you want to talk a little bit more about your graduate school experiences? I
Oh
love
yeah,
to hear
sure.
about disabled success, things like earning degrees, finding jobs.
Yeah,
We love telling stories of disabled success.
Yeah, I just got back into the whole job hunting process.
Yeah.
Kind of working, trying to find my first full-time gig now. So that's in the works. But yeah, the project was something I did as part of my grad school. So I went to the CUNY Grad School of Journalism, and that is in Manhattan, but I did everything remotely because of my situation and also because of COVID. So that worked hand in hand. That worked out really well for me. And yeah, it was a pretty good experience overall, besides other than like needing accommodations for technically one semester for a few classes,
Sure.
which wasn't bad. My professors were understanding and reasonable, and they totally got understood the situation, and they knew obviously COVID is still here, and so that was pretty reasonable experience. So yeah, that's yeah, and other than that, I just made a lot of good friends and just connected with so many other up and coming journalists. And so yeah, that was just a great experience overall.
Of course. What are some lessons that being disabled has taught you?
I would say it's a really interesting question. I'd say that for me, being disabled has taught me that I've always knew, but like I've had to fight like since the beginning, since I came into the world. But I also know that for the disabled community, we've been fighting for forever for our rights and for proper representation and proper acknowledgement of our existence in the world. And so and mind you, and yeah, so that that's definitely one thing that I've learned just from my experience, and also from just everything that I've been doing, everything that I've done lately, all the articles I've done lately.
Milette, I noticed that you talk a lot about how disabled people have had to struggle, work, fight to make headway in the world, or even simply to maintain what progress they have made. Yes. What is like an example of this in your own life? What challenges have you successfully overcome?
Well, for me, I have cerebral palsy, and so and again, and this is another thing to note, that I feel like every disability has its own spectrum, meaning it affects different people differently. So all the folks in the CP subgroup, we're all affected differently, and we all have like our own challenges day to day, and so it varies. But for me, when I growing up, I had to just go through like a lot. I had to like overcome, just deal with a lot of like pain from just everyday things. And so therapy, a lot of PT has really, in addition to some speech and occupational therapy, but PT more than anything else has been, the most helpful. And that's kind of all that therapy has helped me get to where I'm at today. But obviously, I'm still, and I still try to stay as active as I can, just to, keep up. Just because staying active is a good thing regardless. So
yes. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you were able to access those services and that those services were useful to you.
Yeah.
This brings me to my last question. What are some things that you've had to unlearn, shall we say, as a result of your disabled journey?
Um, well, for me, I think for me it's bigger than just me. I think for the able-bodied world, I think what everybody there has to unlearn is that disability is not one-dimensional, as I said earlier. So there's all sorts of, and it's not just like, there's all sorts of intersectional uh, overlapping. So there's a lot of, so just by race and by um, uh, just race and gender and all that sort of stuff. So there's all sorts of disabled people that also fall into a lot of other subcategories. Just so yeah, it's just very it's very much a I guess a big melting pot, because it's just like there's a lot of intersection, like just with one person, so yeah, I know for me, like so I'm Black, I'm female, I'm Christian, and I'm disabled. So all, like, for example, that is a lot, and there are others like me, and there are others that so it's just, there's a lot of intersectional overlap with just how the disabled community identifies as people. So and I'll also say that another thing that the able-bodied community has to unlearn is that us as a community, you have to, I think, learning how to unlearning the traditional use of, like, the derogatory terms. So stuff like so things like handicapped or special needs or such like that. So if you're gonna if for those in the community who are kind of new to learning about disability, if you're going to interact with someone who's in the community, just knowing the right like term to use to refer to them, like, as a disabled person is key. So just knowing that disabled disability is not a bad thing. Disabled isn't a bad word. It's just by the connotation that it gives, just having the prefix dis, it comes off as negative, but it's not. So it's super important for the community to educate themselves. So everybody in the able-bodied community should educate themselves on what disability is, what the variety of disabilities there are, like, by category according to the flag, and just really learning more about what disability is and how varied it is and how it can affect many people that like, so many. Obviously they may not realize it, but there are so many able-bodied people in the world that likely have somebody in their family who's either ill or sick, or has some sort of situation going on, and it could very well be a chronic illness or a disability, or so yeah, it's just, the main thing is to learn to educate yourself and learn to talk about and interact with the disability community in a way that doesn't offend them and make them feel less than, because we all are humans. So, you know, that's that would be the ultimate goal. Like, I think.
This is a very valuable response. Thank you. And it's valuable for a few reasons. I love that you point out that the work to understand disabled people needs to come from the able-bodied community.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
often,
of course,
Mhm.
it's not, I mean, of course, learning, I mean, for all of us in the disabled community, we're always learning about, you know, how our certain disability affects us. So that's obviously not new. That's always been happening, you know. But yes, that is the key thing for the able-bodied community. That's the key element I think needs to be emphasized more, that isn't like isn't talked about enough.
Valid. I also love that you take pains to point out that if you've seen one person with a disability, you've seen one disabled person. And you note that in your own diagnosis, there's a spectrum of how impacted you are, how your symptoms present, and the struggles that you face. That's true for my own diagnosis as well. There's all kinds of cases globally, and no two are alike. So I see you in that. Millie, this brings an end to the questions that I had planned. This is your chance now to promote yourself. If you have any social media channels, any projects going on, any recent wins that you want celebrated, this is your chance to shine. This is your soapbox.
Well, yes, I have a few links. I will send them to you off the call. And
fantastic. I'll put them in the video description when I upload this.
Okay, great. Thank you for this opportunity, and great to meet you, talk to you, connect with you.
The honor is all mine. Thank you very much, Milette. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, you too.
All right.